So, Kyle Rittenhouse says he wanted to help out during unrest in Kenosha because he's all about serving his community, which sounds bogusly noble enough. But here's where things get interesting. Despite hanging out with big names in the MAGA scene, it seems like he's not exactly stepping up for his own family when they're struggling financially. Unfortunately, the spotlight is back on Rittenhouse, who is really trying to make a name for himself after getting away with killing 2 people and injuring another at a 2020 protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The acquitted killer is working at Texas Gun Rights, an organization known for its dedicated advocacy of Second Amendment rights, and it seems he's all about promoting violence and guns as their outreach director. It's like he's not bothered by the controversy surrounding him. He has been actively participating in speaking tours at events in colleges across the country, focusing on gun right advocacy. However, these events have not been without controversy, as some have been canceled at the last minute, and Rittenhouse has even been chased off stage by protesters. Yet he continues to ignore the obvious. His presence and his message are not wanted, and he also ignores the pain and suffering he's caused 3 families and this entire nation. He's even talking about dealing with nightmares and PTSD, but still he's out here giving speeches and starting a gun-focused YouTube channel. And get this, he released a video game where you can shoot at news media. Like, seriously. It's like he's promoting this whole culture of violence and gun use without thinking about the impact it's having, especially on younger people who might be watching. But the real story today is Kyle Rittenhouse family is in a tough spot right now. His mom and sister are struggling financially, and his sister Faith had to kick off a GoFundMe campaign just to try to make ends meet. And guess what? Rittenhouse is apparently not lifting a finger to help out. In the aftermath of the tragic events in Kenosha, Rittenhouse has been basking in the limelight of MAGA circles, rubbing shoulders with prominent figures, yet neglecting his family's cry for help. How is he hobnobbing with all of those MAGA big shots, posing in pictures with Donald Trump, hanging out with Tucker Carlson, but when it comes to his own family struggling, he's nowhere to be found? On the GoFundMe page, his sister wrote, "I'm reaching out to you today with a heavy heart and a sense of urgency that I never thought I'd experience. Our family has been through unimaginable hardships, and now we find ourselves on the brink of losing everything. Just under 4 years ago, our lives were shattered when my brother was involved in a tragic shooting incident. The aftermath of this event uprooted our family's stability and left us grappling with grief, trauma, and the harsh reality of starting over. We know that we are not the only family struggling to rebuild after that fateful night. Let's clear something up. Faith says her brother was involved in a shooting incident. No. Her brother masterminded the tragic events. He chose to travel to Kenosha armed with an AR-15 style rifle and shoot 3 men. This was no wrong place at the wrong time type of situation. He is what went wrong that day." Okay, back to her message. She continued to say, "We've had difficulty obtaining and maintaining employment due to the fact that people still believe my mother drove Kyle or was somehow involved in his decision to go to Kenosha." Okay, so even though Rittenhouse didn't have a driver's license at the time, he testified that he drove to Kenosha the day before the shooting and spent the night at a friend's house where the gun used in the shooting was kept. Faith continued to say, "We've struggled emotionally, mentally, and financially to piece our lives back together, with my brother's unwillingness to provide support or contribute to our family. We've been left to navigate this journey on our own. To make matters worse, I lost my job due to frequent hospitalizations due to medical issues. I have been unable to work over the last 4 months, making it extremely difficult to provide." Faith's heartfelt plea through the GoFundMe campaign really lays bare the harsh reality that Cal's mom, Wendy, and his sister are going through it. The fact that Cal isn't there for them during this tough time says a lot about his character and what he prioritizes. It's a real eye-opener, don't you think? It's just sad to see his family dealing with financial troubles while he's out there living it up on social media with all of his MAGA friends. The contrast between his public image and how he's treating his family is quite stark, wouldn't you say? You'd expect someone who's been through so much to stand by their family, but it seems like Cal is missing the memo here. But wait, it gets worse for the mother-daughter duo. Faith also said, "Despite our best efforts to rebuild and move forward, we've hit another devastating roadblock. We've fallen behind on rent, and now we're facing eviction with only 8 days left in our apartment. The thought of losing our home, our sanctuary, in the midst of chaos is overwhelming and terrifying. We've exhausted every resource available to us, but we're still coming up short. The reality is that we have nowhere else to turn and time is running out. We're pleading for your help, your generosity, and your compassion to see us through this crisis." saying that Rittenhouse ignoring his family in their time of need isn't the worst thing he has done is an understatement. But it is disheartening to witness a young man who claims conservative values and family ties showcase such apathy towards his mother and sister. While Cal flaunts his activities on social media, his mother and sister are left struggling to make ends meet, facing the impending threat of eviction, and it sounds like mostly because of his actions. The disparity between Kyle Rittenhouse's privileged position and his family's financial distress screams a troubling narrative of selfishness and disregard for those who stood by him during his darkest hours. We can only hope that Rittenhouse reconsiders his stance and steps up to support his mother and sister in their hour of desperation. But that looks unlikely since he has only posted about new brand partnerships, gun content, and podcast interviews, and nothing mentioning his mother or sister on any of his social media pages. A direct link to buy his book, Acquitted, is posted to his X account, and on the site he talks about being homeless as a small child. The irony here is that Rittenhouse is leveraging his past struggles for personal gain through book sales while neglecting his family's present financial hardship, despite having the means, resources, and limitless connections to support them. Faith made the GoFundMe campaign 15 days ago, and they didn't reach the $3,000 goal by the 8-day eviction deadline. She did not post any updates, so we are left to wonder if they were somehow able to come up with the rest of the money or were put out while their son and brother flexes all over the internet.